So I'm just going to show you through the hot tub. We've got one set up here that we're about to light. We've just filled it up with tap water. I'll get a temperature reading on that in a minute, and we'll go through the process of getting started. So the first thing is I'm now done with my garden hose. I've been using this to fill up the tub, and I've brought the water level up to just at the top of this port here. So that means that there's a full circuit from the heater to the tub through both hoses, the bottom and the top hoses. So I've closed off this valve. So now that our tub is full of water, and only once it's full of water, do we turn our attention to lighting this fire. So we've got this handy little tray under here, which is a good spot out of the weather to keep your fire lighters and matches. These are amazing. This will burn for about an hour and you just light it with a match. So today I'm feeling just a bit generous, so I'm going to go with 2 halves. You always break these things into a half, so you've got a nice broken edge there. And we get it going. And one thing I forgot to mention is just to check this baffle plate up the top here. You just want, it should slide back and hit the bolts at the back. It's got a stopper at the back there. So you should have just about a finger width gap. Okay, so this, the firelighters are off and away beautifully. Absolutely love those things, very convenient. And now I'm just going to close this down. I've got 2 options here. That's less air and more air. So I'll keep it in the more air stage for the next few hours. And we'll keep that open. More air for the next few hours. And I'll check back in as we go. We'll just be keeping this fire roaring and giving the tub a little stir every so often. And we'll just see how we go over the next few hours as it heats up. We'll keep you updated. Okay, so I'm about to put a bit of kindling on and get this fire built up. First, I'll just quickly show you a couple of safety features. So I've got the hard cover on. It's always helpful to have a cover on during the heat up stage. In this case, I've got this hard cover here. I'll just show you that it can be locked down. So this actually clips in down like that, and there's a key that can lock that to make it child-proof. And another great tip is to keep, most people like to treat these like a bath and empty them when they're not in use. So you just connect your garden hose onto here, open this valve, water your plants, and keep the tub empty when it's not in use, and then it's really nice and safe. So 150. So we lit that about 5 minutes ago. So we'll say that we started at 145, and they're burning nicely now. So I'm going to start putting a bit of this good kindling on. And always important with fires to try to think about the airflow. So I'm trying not to, I'm trying to leave sort of nice gaps so that if you think about the air, it can sort of get all in and around there. Then I'll let that go for another 10 minutes, 10, 15, and come back to keep fueling it. And the goal is to have it really roaring for the next 3 or 4 hours, just really roaring, assuming that you're rushing to get it done as quick as possible. The other great tip that a lot of people like to follow is, if you've got time, just put a load of wood through and then leave it for overnight. And when you come back in the morning, it'll often be already pre-warmed, and so most of the work's done at that point. But today we're just gonna go hard and see how it goes. So it's about 2:30, so it's been 45 minutes. I actually got a bit distracted by a phone call, but I'm just checking in now. So this has been burning for a while, but I'm just really going to start building it up now. Probably let my eye off the ball for a minute there. So because I've got a pretty good base, I'm not too worried that, you know, I'm going to hurt the fire by adding more fuel. So here we go, we'll just chuck a bunch of wood in like that. Got some nice gaps and things around the place. So I'm pretty happy with the airflow. And we'll let that catch on. And I'll just show you what's happening in the tub. So in the first 45 minutes, you know, not expecting much. There is some steam coming off the top, which is encouraging. So we started, so I forgot to mention, we started at 12 degrees, so it's 12 and a half now. And yeah, we've got a fair bit of warmth on the top there, but the trick is to mix it through. So the best way to mix is really trying to bring the cold water from the bottom and bring it up. So really wanting to move the water vertically more than, you know, more than horizontally necessarily. So that's just giving that a good stir, and we keep the lid on. And we'll come back in about maybe 15-20 minutes, and we'll just keep getting that up and roaring. So we're going to end up with a really roaring fire, and we'll just keep it roaring for the next 2-3 hours. Okay, so it's about 3:30, and we're starting to get some nice roaring flames going. And this is how we want it. We've built up our fire. So I just reloaded that a second ago, and give it a stir. Steamy. Nice and warm on top. And important that we get that heat all spread through. So, I mean, that's telling us that we're at 32 degrees. However, after the stir, it's still quite cool in here, so we have a little way to go yet. Keep that lid on. So that's been stirred. This is roaring. Chuck a little bit more on there. That's just a really good hot fire. And I'll just point out too, this confuses some people. This little bit of drippage here is actually condensation. So that's just coming from the walls of the firebox and just dripping out the front. It's not actually a leak of any kind, it's perfectly normal. Okay, so it's 4 o'clock. I've just thrown a few more bits on. And we'll just check the water. still quite a lot of cool water underneath there, so in all honesty, I think I've probably not been tending to the fire wide enough to absolutely minimise the heat up time. So I'm just going to make sure this firebox is really quite loaded. So if you want to have a look in there nice and close, you'll see it's a reasonably good fire. Pretty good, pretty happy with that. I think I just need to keep at it. It's all coming together now. 4:58, so we're just on 3 hours. Got the fire still going nicely. It's just cranking along beautifully. So that's what you want. And then got some real nice heat coming through here now. Give this a bit of a stir. I'm sort of on the home stretch, I think. It's still probably 40 something on the top, about 40 on the top. And then I reckon down there I'm feeling more like 30, so we're probably about half an hour from diving in. We're at the home stretch. We've got a decent little lump of wood that I'm going to place on the fire there. And I'm going to shut this down. So I've got that in at the closest notch. I won't close this right up because I still want it to chuff along. Give you an idea, we used that much firewood today. So it was probably 2/3 of this bag. I think this bag is 15 or 20 kilos. And it's 5:24, so it's been 3.5, 3:45. We're at 38 degrees. We're actually at about 37 there, but I've actually stopped really working the fire now. So that's why I've sort of shut it right down, because I know that that's going to keep adding heat for a little while. So that's a really important tip to consider, which is a few degrees before your target temperature is when you stop reloading the fire, because it will just have a bit of momentum. And I'll get to the fun part now. Getting ready for the good times. Got a few mates coming over later actually. So this will be well enjoyed. So we've got the drink holder on, and it's ready to soak, ready for a soaking session.